Welcome to the Chronic Health Collective. This is not just a community, it's your fresh start. We gathered the best coaches and experts to help you reclaim your energy, heal you from the inside out, and to live with purpose. Whether you're longing for more energy, deeper healing in your relationships, or a life that feels more aligned and fulfilling, you're not alone anymore. Today we got Don Omalza, Emotional Alchemy, joining us, and of course we have Leandra Frey, our life and dating coach. And what are we going to be talking about in this panel discussion, Minna?
Yeah, I've been talking about it. Since we're in February, we have Chinese New Year, and traditionally, day 3 of Chinese New Year is the day of arguments.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if it's true or not, but that's just the day there seems to be, people fighting over something with your family or your friends or whatever. So let's go there. Let's talk about connections and how do you maintain good connections.
I love it. And then in that case, I'm just gonna call on Leandra, or dating coach, first, and make sure to give me some tips so I don't fall into this trap on the third day.
Oh my gosh. What is the actual date of this year, the third day? I'm curious now.
I think 17 is Chinese New Year, so 19 would be the day that you start arguing with everybody.
Oh my gosh, that is hilarious. I love it. So I think, and it's interesting that this month I'm actually going to be giving one of my favorite talks, which is how to deepen your current relationships, your existing relationships, whether it's with your daughter, spouse, future boyfriend, and just people, because we're all about relationships and connections. And a lot of times when we're talking about the long-term piece of it, is how much either we can want to disconnect, just be like, I'm done with you, go like stone cold. We can do all those things, but how to appreciate each other in your different seasons. And so I think we were talking about one of the main topics of this month, which is compassion. And part of having compassion is having perspective and not thinking that your way is the only way. And I think part of probably one of the problems that we have in most of our relationships, doesn't matter what it is the spirit of pride. And it's shows up as control, right? How we think our way is the right way and the only way. And so it doesn't leave any room for possibility for what does it look like when you can consider the other person when they're saying, you're just being so stubborn, or you're just being blah, 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 whatever it is that they're saying you're being. A lot of times we'll think you're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. And we don't even take into consideration, like, what if what they're telling me is 1% true? Okay. Now, I didn't say 100%, but if someone is telling you, someone that you love is saying you're being stubborn, and sometimes I want to say you're stupid, but like stubborn, I use that word. I really have to, if I stop and pause and say, okay, of course they want you to take you all the way 90%, but let's just take a look and say, okay, what does it look like if they were 1% true? Maybe even 10. Let's just say 10 for a negotiation. Then you can start looking at your impact on them. Okay, if they say I'm stubborn, where is that showing up in our relationship? And what can I do to adjust that, right? If I want to meet them in the middle and meet them somewhere where I'm not always being stubborn or wanting to be right, or my way is the only way. And I think stopping to do the pause and asking the question, what if that were 1% true? And if you really want to show up with a new space is 10%, it really forces you to think and respond in a different way other than the way you've been responding. And I think if you make that a habit of, okay, this person, I'm hearing this again, maybe from someone else, maybe someone tells you, I get told I'm stubborn and like to be in control, so I'm using myself as an example, is, okay, if I've heard that from my coworker, a friend, my spouse, my brother, then, okay, I'm going to ask the question. At this point, I have to use 10% true, not 1%. But then I have to ask, I'm like, is that how I want to show up? Right? And ask yourself that hard question. If this is how I want to show up and I really care about the people that are in my life, then that's where I would start is that honest, how am I contributing to this relationship? So that's where I start. It's a hard start. It's a new habit, but I think we could see if anyone wants to be game. If there's any other person, Dawn, about that, have you ever tried it? Or some other tool that you use when you're working with people in your life?
Well, I think the misconception when it comes to having any argument in a relationship is that the conception is that it's always something negative where you're attacking someone, or there's a different perspective. But when there is attention to when I think when your partner is drawing attention to something that may be a conflict, or you may be perceiving it in a different way, I think that's actually a positive thing, because that means they're invested in the relationship. When there is too much silence and they're not even saying anything, and even when it's about the most obvious thing that they should be having a comment on, then I think that'd be more troubling than having someone come at you with having an argument about something. And then, like, for me, I mean, I've had to really mature in my own relationships. It took years. I mean, I'm still learning it. But right. And I think, like, one of the books that I remember reading is called it was Byron, Byron Katie.
Oh yeah, Byron Katie.
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Loving what is. And I'm like, wow, I wish somebody had introduced this book to me when I was 18 years old, because this would have, like, totally helped me and saved me from a lot of tears and just unnecessary arguments. But it's like, when someone does have something to say, it's like you immediately have a reaction or response to it, and the first thing that she recognizes is that it's like, is it really true what they're saying, and is it really true the response that you're having towards it, right? And that's where the perspective comes into play. And that's where the emotional and the development comes into play as well, because it probably, what it did, it was trigger something else that isn't even related to what was presented to you at that time. And so you're responding to some kind of past experience, and you're reacting to what you had experienced in the past, and not really hearing what the other person says. So, over time, when we're in relationships, no matter what type it is, it's a friendship or with a partner or a work relationship, I think if it would really help if we all could become better listeners, listeners to what is being said, and a better listener to what the stories that you're telling in your head, right? So that's my feedback on that.
Yeah, I think it's a good point that we need to listen more. I feel like there's a lot of ego involved when we deal with connections. Like the bigger ego you have, the more that you see that your view is the only right view, and because of that, no one else is right when they're not in line with you, right? So I feel like ego is a big part of what I need to be aware of, even myself, that just control my ego. It's not the same as confident. Ego is something else. And if I have that under control, I'd be able to listen more and accept more of what other people is talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You, on the other hand, I know you came from a family like that, likes to pick fights.
She's talking about ego. She was like, talking about me, right? It's really funny because we've been together for a long time, and to be honest, I can't think of any times we actually gone to a full-fledged argument. And maybe it's because, like what Minna says, growing up, my family is always arguing. There's stuff being thrown around, and I don't want to be that person. And two, it's sort of like, how do I shut it down before it gets worse? And one of the things that we learned from Jack Canfield, and I thought that was really great, is like, if someone says something and and they tell you, and it just pisses you off. Like normally I would just go off. I would just get into an argument. That's how my family is. And then I just it's sort of like both of you saying, take a breath. And for me, it's like, okay, what the hell is Minna thinking about that's got her in that mood, that's thinking that, and maybe she's having a bad day or whatever. And I don't need to know the answer. To be honest, sometimes I don't want to know the answer, right? It's basically to stroke my ego down. Okay, I can't be 100% right. She's dealing with something that is bothering her, and that's okay. And let's not put any more gasoline on the fire and move on. And I found, this really has helped me stay out of trouble probably in the last 10 years as we're learning a little bit more about personal development. Because before, it's like Minna would see my pissed off face and we just stare at each other and we'll be just pissed off looking at each other. And that'll be it. And then we won't be talking for the rest of the day. But there was never any arguments. But now it's sort of like we try to diffuse it fairly quickly. Yeah. Right. And I think what your lady said is so true. It's like, maybe what I was accusing her was only 1% true, not 10% true. I don't know. Right? To be honest, it's like, I'd rather not know. She's not happy with what I said. So be it. Let's move on. So, and I try to learn from it. But like I said, my ego is sometimes bigger than my ego. So I'm still working on that myself.
I think too, another misconception about when there's arguments is that there's so many people or gurus out there that tell you don't go to bed angry. And I think that's the biggest mistake, because sometimes if you can just give each other that space to sleep on it, by the next day, you probably don't feel that same way on that triggered that argument to begin with. And then you can actually talk it out, in a much more calmer and more fair way. I mean, that's another thing too, is like, if we're gonna have an argument, it has to be a fair one.
So
or like asking, when someone needs to leave, how someone will like, I just need to go get some air.
Right.
I need to go take a walk, or letting them leave. Right. A lot of times women will follow their husband around and be like, rah, 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 and like not leave them alone. Right. And hands on the hips, the whole thing. And it's like, you just need to let them leave them alone, right? For however long. The same with us. I mean, a lot of times we need to go for a walk and just let them be angry or disappointed. Same thing with our kids. A lot of times, they get hurt. We want to say, you're okay, you're okay, you're okay, you're okay, you're okay. You've ever watched Mission Impossible? I love Mission Impossible, by the way. There's one whole movie where Tom Cruise says, you're okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?
I remember that.
The whole movie, because I was watching it with closed captions and I was like, what the heck? Get paid for? But that's what we do to our kids, right? We'll be like, you're okay. Or we're like, let's go have ice cream, instead of like letting them just be, right? And so we get trained as kids to like either not express our feelings, or, immediately going to tell the person, I'm sorry. Go tell Susie you're sorry, and you're supposed to feel better. And we need to like be allowed to have our anger or disappointment. So yeah, I totally understand when you say don't let them, it's okay to go to bed angry, because you might feel different about it in the morning. And the other thing I do is like, when I'm feeling really angry, not necessarily at my husband, but you can see I'm really expressive in my face, and he'll be like, what's going on? And I'll say, and that has nothing to do with him, but I'll say, do you have 20 minutes? Like, because I'm about to like unload, and like, to be honest, I'm about to get on a call. I have this thing. I'll talk to you in a second. And I mean, 8 times out of 10, he'll say, go ahead and let it all out. And he's really good at listening. He doesn't actually give any feedback. He'll just say, oh man, that sucks, or whatever. I, on the other hand, have to learn to be as great as him at also doing the same thing. Oh, that sucks, I'm so sorry. Instead of trying to give him feedback, I'm like, hey, why didn't you ask this question? Or why didn't you do this? So also learning to just listen when someone just needs to air out their anger or whatever, that could cause problems later in the household.
Yeah. I think that's really hard when someone is having a bad day and they pick an argument with you, and we're talking about being able to just sit and listen. That's really hard to just listen and not have a reaction or take it personally, even though when you know they're having a bad day with something or someone else, right? But you're the beanbag. And then you just feel their fire and you just make them even more agitated.
Yeah, I think I just learned to take the time. I walk away or do something else and just give it a few
Right.
hours before I start to react. It's like if it goes away after a few hours, it's nothing, just nothing to worry about. But if it's still making me mad,
That's
then
right.
it's something
Yeah.
and it's something that we need to talk about. Is that right?
Exactly. And I think those are all great tips. We're going to take a short break, and I'm sure we're going to dive into some other amazing relationship tips.
Hi, I am Leandra Frey. I am a life and dating coach. I help women that have gone through a divorce, widowhood, or if it's been a long time since they've been in a relationship, I help them get back on their feet, gain courage and confidence to get back into the dating world and find the love of their lives in 6 months or less. The reason I do this is having been divorced myself, I have been out in the world, the dating world, what I would call the gauntlet. And it can be hard when you've come off a divorce or you've come off a long time breakup and you find yourself starting and stopping, starting and stopping. And sometimes you stop and many years can go by. And so what I'm here to do and help you is to help you along the way so that you don't give up on yourself and that we learn to create resilience in your dating so that you can keep going and not waste 5, 7, 12 years of your life thinking there's no one out there for you. There are many people out there for you. There is someone looking for you today. So that is why I do what I do, because I love bringing people together because we are all created for love and connection.
Why do 98% of beauty enthusiasts rave about coolness? It's all in the blend of ancient wisdom and modern science. Introducing Coolness, Pearlescent Face and Eye Serum Cream. This powerhouse combines the antioxidative power of schisandra berries, the glow of pearl powder, and the hydrating wonders of dragon's blood extract. It's like a time machine for your skin, making it radiant, firm, and oh so smooth. Inspired by ancient Chinese traditions and backed by modern nutritional science, this serum cream is perfect for dry, mature, and aging skin. It's time to unlock your inner glow with Coolness. Treat your skin to the best of both worlds today.
Welcome back to Chronic Health Collective. So today's topic, we're talking about connections. And I have a question for the two ladies here that is experts. We've been together for a hell of a long time. And we work together as well. We run businesses together. And even for us being together for so long, I still have problems working with him.
No comment. So what's your question?
So we got to the point that I have to say, like, this is what you do. This is what I do. Don't overlap. We don't cross. And that's how I try to maintain it. What do you think? Is there a better way to maintain this delicate connection?
Well, I don't know. I've interviewed y'all, so it was awesome. I could see how you guys have been married so long and have created these awesome businesses and this great life together. But I think the division of your strengths, like which works, it sounds like that's what y'all do, is dividing what works for you, your strengths and your weaknesses. And that's what I've noticed with other couples that work together. They have they work in their zone of geniuses, right? And then respecting those zone of geniuses. I think y'all do a great job of that, and not trying to put someone that, if you're not good at social media, saying, well, you should do this because this is how our business will be successful, right? And I know that's Andy's zone of genius. I love the stuff that you do. So I think like the fact that you do that, that's really great. And so the other thing is, I've heard y'all talk a little bit like when you like to go for a walk, right? Minna, you love your space, where you're like, I'm going to go by myself, and having the space to do your own thing and things that bring you joy. And that's one of the things, one of my favorite books, which is called The Empowered Wife, really talks about when you're really trying to figure out what's going on with your marriage. Is one of the very first rule of thumb on that one is, what are you doing that you love to do that's your own? So if that's going for a walk, or, dancing, or, doing your own Bible study, book study, whatever it is, that has nothing to do with your husband, that's your own, that would be the first step of, hey, this is my space and this is what I love to do. That's and maintaining that, because, especially if, I think couples that do work together and they have kids, there's usually no room that is like left for them, right? For them. And so that's one of those non-negotiables that you would want to put in, to say, once a week, this is what I do. Or I have someone who's been married a long time, and she realized she likes sewing on Saturday mornings. Like, she tells her husband, do not talk to me for 3 hours. And so she crochets from like 9 to 12, watching Lifetime movies, and he does not bug her. Like, don't talk to me. Don't ask me any questions. Don't ask me for the errands. And it sounds kind of like selfish, but that's what you need, right? And especially if you're working together. And so it has really worked. And so I love it that I know that her self-care is on that day. So that's what I would suggest. I think you guys are already doing it. And that's the power of why y'all have several businesses together. But that's what I've seen work, and have that non-negotiable also for the husband, right? Like Dale, he runs on the political side. I do not mess with that at all. In fact, like, I am like, that is your thing. And I'll ask him great questions about him, but I don't say, you should go do this, or you should go do these signs. I should help you with your campaigning, blah, 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 blah. Like, no, like, and it has been really special, right? Because when he comes after his event, he comes and tells me, like, I met this person and this person came, and it's so much excitement because it's his space, right? It's his jam, and it's what brings him joy. And I think it's been really cool to watch him evolve, because I had no idea he was going to be in politics when we first got married. But that has been his thing. And so I'm like, oh my gosh. But anyway, that's for another story. But again, that's what brings him joy. So that's what I would answer to your question.
So my chime in on this one is that, like, my partner and I, we don't build a business together, but our passion for working is equivalently the same. And so we have a lot of conversations about what we experience at work and how we handle things and all of that, right? But there has to come a point in the time of the day where we turn those conversations off, right? So even if you're spending an enormous amount of time with each other, it's like, it's good to know when to turn it off and flip it back to just the personal relationship. And every conversation can't be about business building, or, how am I gonna, like, for us is like, how are we gonna have those fun counseling conversations with employees who are badly behaving, right? So it's like having that personal time where it's just about the actual intimate relationship. And then the other thing I see a lot, because I've been in many businesses where there were a lot of power couples, was um respecting each other's fame. Right? Because you're trying to build this life, and as long as you're in it together, but there comes a period where one is achieving more success than the other. Like you're doing it together, but you're still on different timelines, right? And just respecting the and genuinely being happy for the success that the other partner is achieving, I think is really important when you have that type of dynamic when you're working alongside your your love life, your mate. And then the downsides too, I think I've seen it where maybe one partner is not achieving the things that they want, and then the other person tends to um I don't know how do I say, but it's like I see how they tend to start scaling themselves back, or slowing down their momentum, achieving where they're at, because the other person is not, you know, not going at the same lane. So those things, they don't try to recognize that within each other, or where you're at, and just be mindful of it. And the other thing that you guys do really well is you guys celebrate your wins. You guys go on vacations, and you have fun together. And I think a lot of people, once they get into that momentum of achieving their goals, they forget to have that fun time. So you guys are doing really great. I don't think I can even add to anything more that Leandra said. We could actually, maybe you guys should pivot and add that to part of your guys, your repertoire, and teach other people on how to be a successful couple when you're building a business together.
Let's hear it.
You want to hear it from me? Oh my God.
I was gonna say, there you go.
It's funny because Dawn, you're talking about how some people will pivot to slow down their business when the other person's business is not doing well. And me and Min are complete opposites. It's like we're so dang competitive in everything. And every time we start a business, we always have our own main gig too. And then we'll have our business side gig. And it's always like once we get the business, one of us is always making, it's not about the money. Don't get me wrong. But to us, it's a game, right? It's like all of a sudden, one of them's making so much more money. It's like, what the hell? How come you're so far ahead? Like for me, everything's a race. And I don't like losing, to be honest. I really don't. It's not because I don't like losing to my wife. I just don't like losing. Right? And, I think when we do it as a friendly competition, then things work out pretty good. It's sort of like, well, I'm just almost there. Can you just help me get over the last hump, right? So a lot of times, of course, me and Minna, when we go in our own lanes, I don't know if you guys ever watch the show Roadrunner. They had Wile E. Coyote, and then they had that dog, right? And if you ever watch the beginning, they have these time cards that all, like Wile E. Coyote and Sheepdog as friends, right? And then the time in the time card, and now they're enemies, right? They go into the separate things, right? Me and Minna is very similar. Like we'll have our morning coffee, we'll get up. And then we have two rooms. She goes in her room, I go in my room, and that's it. For the rest of the day, we don't really see each other until lunch break or dinner, right? So it's almost like we snapped into our time cards. And sometimes I feel so stupid. Like I'm texting Minna, what do you think about this? When I can just literally shut it out. But I don't know if she's in a meeting or not, right? But, I think, like you said, as a couple, that's been working together for so long, we found we really did need that separated space. Otherwise, nothing gets done. Probably more so for me because I'm always asking them, what do you think? What do you think of this? What do you think of that? Right? It's like, shut the F up. Let me finish my job. I'll let you know what you think later, What are your thoughts on that? Very true, right?
Yeah, I guess it's true. But I think it is true what Don says. We, even as a couple, we're never at the same level all the time. You always, one person is ahead of the other, right? So we were just watching cartoon, and it's about the theory of drafting. So drafting in terms of driving is there's a car in the front, there's a car in the back. And when the car in the back is really close to the front car is actually pulling the back car along. So the back car is actually getting the advantages of being helping to pull forward. Oh. So the further you're close together, the more you get the pull from each other, and that's how we keep going.
Oh, I love that. So we stay at that same distance. That's what she's saying. That same distance.
That's amazing. I was going to say there's this movie, I think it's on Amazon, on what not to do as a couple. That it's called The Roses, and it's with it's a really funny comedy, but it's the demise of a marriage because they were competing and not appreciating each other and their glories. And I love like listening to you guys because you're all the opposite of that movie. But if you want to watch a fun, it's hilarious. It's Benedict Cumberbatch and Rose Coleman, and it is world-class, great writing, hilarious, but it's a marriage that goes under. It's based on the book called War of the Roses. And so it's roses. So immediately as you started talking, I'm like, that's a great example of what not to do. And, I was like, but anyway, it's a fun, good date night movie. And then it gives you a chance to appreciate each other.
The topic of what not to do. I was going to go to the next section anyways.
Yeah.
With you. In terms of connections, relationships, you can choose which type of relationship you want. Tell us something that you would recommend people not to do.
I'll answer that just because I think I tell this to my clients that are dating. And then I do have existing clients that are marriages that are trying to strengthen. I have a couple of spouses that they're trying to strengthen their marriage. But the number one, and I mentioned a little bit, but is not criticizing, right? Women are a little bit more guilty of this, men too. You'll hear it sometimes because then we just end up tearing each other down. But I think like the little minor infractions that we think are really innocent. I always talk about the driving situation where I like to, criticize my husband for how he drives. And, and I've learned over time that destroys the intimacy of where we're headed, right? Like if we're going on a date, if we're going somewhere, and if I say, why don't you drive in the middle lane? Because he always likes to drive on the, where everyone's merging. And of course, in my mind, I'm like, this is not safe. Like, you need to get over in the other lane. And I think I have great intentions, right? But then the second it comes out of my mouth, I can feel him pull away, right? And I have to start asking myself, is this worth this little infraction, right? Like critique, so I can feel better. Is it worth the moment of time in the car, right? Especially if we're going somewhere great. So a lot of times I have to check myself, or like I'll give an example of, and they're tiny infractions. Obviously we have the bigger infractions where we're like, you're just blah, blah, blah. But I'm giving you the smaller ones because it starts with the smaller comments is, you're wearing that, you're going to wear that shirt out to wherever. And then, like, used to drive me nuts with my husband. He used to always wear a black t-shirt everywhere he went. Or he would wear the same 5. And I mean, I would drive me batty because I'm like fashionista over here. And I was like, my husband cannot be going out like that. And it was funny, but I realized like it was not trusting him with his own appearance. Could he dress better? Yeah, sure. But was that his thing? Is that who he is? No, like he's a shirts and t-shirts guy. Not anymore because now he's running for office, but he's but he had to evolve that on his own, not me, right? That was not a result of something I said or did. That was a result of like, oh, I better like get a suit because people value people that wear suits. But when I now listen for women as they're talking and they ask like, well, I don't know, he just shut down on me, or he just shut down on me. I'll ask like, what was it that you said right before the shutdown? Right before he went on his phone or spaced out. And usually I'll find there's something that she said, not super critical, but like tiny enough. And so I would say, like, really check yourself. I know we're about to go to break, but really check yourself when you're about to give what you think is good intentions, right? We all like, what? But he would dress better. He would drive better. He would make more money if he talked to his boss or a certain way, you know, if he sent that email, if he checked in, right? And I'm going from the he point of view, is really asking, like, then you're not trusting him or respecting how he's going about his day or his life, right? That's how it shows up. But as women, we're taught to just say, you know, especially like we're doing our very independent. We're like, oh, but this is the way. Again, back to what I said at the beginning, we get into the way, but we can talk more and hear more about Dawn's what not to do when we get back from our break.
Yes, we'll be right back, and I'm going to be looking forward to what Dawn says not to do. All right.
If you were born between December 22nd, 1973 and January 19, 1974, this message is for you. You're entering one of the most powerful energetic windows of your lifetime, your Chiron return. The Chiron return is a cycle where the wounds we've carried for decades rise to become our greatest wisdom. 2026 is your year of preparation, a time to release what no longer resonates, rebuild your energetic foundation, and realign with your truth. Because in 2027, everything changes. I'm Dawn, and I'm just like you. I've lived the perfectionism, the control, and been accused of being emotionally detached. And I've learned that they were never flaws, they were survival codes. Now they're being rewritten. We'll use tools like quantum evaluation, creative emotional wizardry, and principles of parallel realities to help you shift timelines, from exhaustion to embodiment, from structure to sovereignty. 2026 is a year of preparation, and 2027 is a year that everything changes. And you, the Capricorn women born in 1974, are the architects of that new era. I'll see you in my Zen Heart community as we realign, recalibrate, and get ready for what's unfolding.
When you look in the mirror, do you see skin that's just dry, tired, and stressed? It's time for a new ritual. Introducing Deep Love, the blue botanical face cream by Coolness. We've captured their tranquil essence of blue botanicals in a cloud-soft formula that deeply soothes irritation and restores your natural, healthy glow. This isn't just skincare, it's an act of self-care. It's Deep Love. Find your calm only at coolness.com. Scan the QR code now to visit our website.
And we're back. Dawn, you know, I would love to hear what your thoughts are for what not to do, because I'm always learning from you all here.
For me, the number one thing that came to my mind was, don't use social media to compare your status of your relationship or how it needs to look like, because it's all false. it's
Amen.
okay.
Amen on that one, yeah.
Right? Don't compare. And the other one that's a big pet peeve of mine is not keeping a scorecard. You know, when you get into those arguments, you're like, well, you did this on this time and then on this date, and like it's just, you know, it's just like yeah, the scorecard thing that really bugs me big time. And the other one is like what Leandra was, you know, talking about, the criticism. I think more along the lines of the expectations that you have, release that, right? Because and it goes to, because we go into these relationships thinking we need to change the other person. if you really, really need to change many things about the individual, that may not be the right person for you.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Find someone that you can accept them for they are, because they have to accept you as well, right? You wouldn't want to be entering into a relationship where, someone is picking on you about this, or having all these little nuances about everything that you feel judged and criticized, because that's not a good feeling in any which way. I mean, in any type of relationship that you have, right? With your friends, your coworkers, whatever it is, no one likes to be judged. So I do, that's one of my biggest principles, is trying to live each day with non-judgment, because I really believe that when there isn't any judgment, there isn't anything to forgive, because you're not passing on negativity. So short and simple on that one.
Yeah,
I love what you said, not judging. And I was going to say, when, especially if they're dating, I'll hear, well, he has potential. And I'm like, no, immediately like,
It's like red flag, red
not
flag.
not your person. Or this happens in marriages, and I come from, I'm a woman of faith. So they're like, well, I'm praying for my husband that, I'll hear it this way. So I'm praying for my husband that he, he really sees where God really wants him to be. Right. And I'm like, oh, well, where is that? Where do you think that should be? And it's usually, again, that potential. And I'm like, oh, and of course I'm not going to say you need to get rid of him, but I'm like, all right, let's really look at what Dawn was saying, accepting who you have. Right. But yeah, those are, if you hear potential anywhere, I'm like, run. Like, that's not your person. Go, like, run. If you're already thinking that, you're only going to be criticizing them for here on out.
Yeah, I think my experience is that if you with a person in a loving relationship, you with a person that you think needs to be changed somehow, that's never going to work. You are never going to be able to change someone else. You can only change yourself. Mm-hmm. Even in a work relationship, right? Even if I'm the boss and I want some of my employees to change, that's not going to happen. They have to be motivated to want to change themselves. I cannot change someone else. That's never going to happen, right? Mm-hmm. Like when Dawn talked about scorecards, that is like traumatic experience for me, because like for me with my parents, there's always like a scoring system, right? Mm-hmm. If you get an A, you're good that day. But even B+, that's like an Asian fail. Mm. Right?
Oh, totally. Totally. And you're talking about scorecards. When I met her family, coming from a village family to like an upper middle class Asian family, it's like, oh my gosh. It's like, I had to cut down. When I first met her, Leandra, we're just saying we love your amazing different hairstyles and stuff like that. But when I was younger, when I first met her, I had blonde hair. Like my hair was like completely blonde. I was in that rebel face, jean jacket and stuff. And I'm knocking on the door on the first date at her house, and the door opens, and there's this huge man standing. He's like 6 foot tall, and I was like, during that time, I was skinny. I was like really small. I was like 130 pounds. Like, it would literally blow me away. I was like, oh my God. It's like, and he's looking at me. He's like, what's this gangbuster? What for my daughter, right? Like, so it is so funny, because it's sort of like what Minna says. It's like, for me, I had to change to be a better person to sort of what I think I should be for her. She never bothered. I think she actually liked me being a rebel and just thought her dad. But yeah, that really changed my perspective and how things are. It wasn't her changing. It was for me, how can I change to be a better person for her? Right.
I love that.
So what would you recommend people not to do in the relationship?
What I would, look at the face. Well, I was going to say, don't look at anywhere else but her face. Okay, you can go for a date. Oh my gosh. It is so funny because, for guys, we are just and I think this is a guy thing, maybe women too, maybe. I don't know. I don't want to get myself in trouble. But for guys, we're always attracted by the long hair, the anticipation, what a woman looks like before they turn around. Or if they're wearing something sexy, it's like, you're wearing something sexy. Obviously, you want us to look at why you're wearing something sexy. Don't expect us to look at your face if you're wearing something sexy, right? But it's all a trap, guys. It's like, it's a test. You have to look at their face and try to ignore everything else. It's like, but I was just saying, we're watching an anime cartoon, and they're always doing the close-ups of, the
the fantasy.
And like, that's what this is all about. That's just how guys are, right? That's the first thing they notice, right? But the trap is, look at their face. Don't look anywhere else. That is what I was saying, not what not to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's good for dating advice. I think that's probably good for interviews.
Yes, for sure.
Look at the people eye to eye. Don't just go, right? I
Well,
think you do that.
And we're going for an interview, I guess, right?
It's true, because like in the dating space, especially the online dating, these guys will say, "Oh, can you send a picture?" And they already have the profile. And I already know what they're up to. I'm like, no. Like, I usually tell my women, especially the ones that are looking for something serious, I'm like, nope, they have already done the, like what you would say, not look at their face, right? I'm like, by even asking for a picture, it's done. I'm like, those are not your people. Again, those are not the people you're looking for, but that's how they give themselves away on this, whether it's social media or on the dating apps. But yeah, it's sound advice. I mean, and I work with young adults on Monday nights, right? And I got a lot of young men that are there, and teaching them like how to dress on a interview, and then when you're looking for a girl, right? Like what not to get distracted by, and they're trying their best.
Don't do the scan. Don't do the scan.
Whatever you do, and don't tell me that's why you're wearing sunglasses. Like, do not tell me that's why you wear sunglasses. I'm like, Anyway, but to the women, I'm like, and I tell this to young women, and women, doesn't matter. I'm like, wear something appropriate so that you're not distracting them, so you can get to know them. That's a good word to the wise. We don't talk about it enough, I don't think. So I think that was really helpful.
Well, I think one of the things I would say don't ever do when you're going on any kind of meeting is don't look at your phone. Because when you start looking at your phone, you start answering things, your focus is gone, and that person immediately feels it, and it feels like they're not as important to you as they should be. So I would say put your phone somewhere, put it in a pocket or somewhere, just leave the phone out. So that's one of my things that say don't ever do. As far as dating wise, don't ever compare the other person to someone else, like Chris Hemsworth.
Yes.
They would never compare to
that. Before Thor came out, it used to be Wolverine. It used to be Hugh Jackman, okay?
Yeah.
Like, how do you compete with these guys? Hugh Jackman and Chris Hemsworth. It's like, and then she gets upset when I look at it like some hot chick in the movie. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
But, I think what she says is, on a real dating aspect is don't compare someone that is fictional, even though they're real actors, okay?
Yeah.
But I think more important, don't compare it to your ex. I think that'll probably like them. Where's deadly sin? Well, my ex-girlfriend, she never did that. Or,
Oh no.
she was really good at doing this.
Yeah, don't do that. But I was going to say, because, we're talking on the dating space, but like for marriages, especially during the Christmas, everyone's watching the Hallmark movies, right? The Hallmark channels.
Yes.
So, right. People will go on a binge, and married women too. And sometimes they'll be like, oh, I'm just watching Hallmark. But also there becomes a compare and despair of what our husbands should be doing. Right. And so then we have to be careful that you're not, we're thinking about these men, but I'm like, these are nice guys on the Hallmark channels or on Netflix, the latest, whatever it is. Yeah. And like just learning to be careful not to compare and despair of what you're seeing on these nice channels, right? They seem harmless. But then if you're like, why doesn't my husband do that? Or why doesn't he pick up the kids or whatever? But back to that I call it compare and despair. But just, learning to watch, like how much are you imbibing of that and then putting it on your spouses and future husbands. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think, this whole topic about love, connection, and compassion, I think the one thing I would like to start closing this out with is compassion for yourself. When you're in a relationship with someone, you have to really love yourself and know that this is me and this is what I can offer. And if that's not good enough, or you are with someone that's trying to make you be something different, love yourself enough to not tolerate that and move on. We have options. There's 8 billion people in this world. There's someone out there for you that will not make you feel or question your self-worth, right? So loving yourself and having that compassion and again, it's not just only with a love partner, it's any type of relationship that you have. We have to really endure ourselves. And I think a lot of times, we all go on this personal or spiritual journey and we're trying to discover who we are and find our purpose. And there's all kinds of relationships that come with that. But it doesn't mean that you're going to have to change, or I don't know, I'm trying to find the right word. It's like there's just something that we do to ourselves that in that journey, like sometimes enough is enough.
Enough. Like
you don't have to constantly chase is that's what it is. You don't have to keep chasing. And when you learn to just be with yourself and love yourself, that's when you become so much better for someone else. Because you're not needy. You're not expecting someone to fill the gaps of where you think there's voids. Everything you need is within yourself.
I love that. So true. We can tell that to all the young women too.
I know.
But
I know.
Yeah.
Along the same line is, you have to love yourself, and I feel like I should be independent enough that I don't need to depend on someone else to give me whatever it is that you're expecting from that person, other than just, pure love. Right. So I want to be independent, and I love myself before I can actually approach someone and love someone else.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. And I'm not going to try to topple anyone. I'm feeling really outnumbered here with 3. So what is the best way, before we close the show, Leandra, what is the best way for people to get a hold of you?
At LeandraFreyCoaching.com or FreyCoaching@gmail.com. So yeah.
I love it. And then we have our, little QR code here that goes, I think, straight to our calendar. So if you want any life and dating coach, reach out to Leandra. And Dawn, what is the best way to reach you?
Through my website, New Dawn Holistic Health, or by email or on Instagram, which is also called New Dawn Holistic Health. And, I can complement what Leandra does and help you with your emotions because...
Yes.
That'll be another topic next time we're talking about. We can dig into a little bit more of the emotions aspect for sure. But yeah, and, Minna, what's the best way to get a hold of us?
Well, we are on chronichealthcollective.com. That's the name of the show. We are also on Facebook, which is also Chronic Health Collective, and on YouTube at Chronic Health Collective. So
if today's episode spoke to you, please don't go alone. Book your free consult with one of our coaches at Chronic Health Collective for your personalized support, and subscribe to our monthly magazine for expert tips from all 11 of our coaches to elevate your health, your mindset, and of course, your relationships, right? That's what today was all about. Catch us here every Tuesday at 7 p.m. or watch past episodes at e360tv.com or youtube.com at Chronic Health Collective. Thanks for tuning in. Your transformation starts now. We'll see you all next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.